You have to just trust God and work together. And then don't get discouraged, right? Don't get discouraged. Just know that he who began this thing, he says he's going to do what? Bring it to completion. He's going to fulfill it. All right. Then purpose number 4, and you said we're going to talk about quickly before time is up, yes.
Yes.
So make sure you continue reading and go through the book.
Right.
And as I'm even talking tonight, as someone did a few times, the things you've underlined that struck out those bullets, I want you to also to share them with us.
Oh, I really like reading over there that I really like.
And which one now?
Oh, this is page 216. While we worry about how fast we grow, God is concerned about how strong we grow. Because we want to be Christians and we want to grow about how strong are you? That was something I was looking at.
That is so true. We get focused on the wrong things sometimes, in our walk, and that will cause us to miss it, and not just miss God sometimes, We look at people, and God has made all of us uniquely different. Different gifts, different talents, different abilities, and so we just got to find out, who we are in Him. And once you do that, listen, you'll be at peace. Because because now you no longer try to want to appease people.
Right, that's true.
This is what God made me to be. This is the things He gave, the tools He gave me to work with, and I'm working with these tools.
I think that for me, understanding that temptation is always going to be in my life is the biggest thing I had to overcome. Because I thought that once I stopped getting high and drinking and stuff and hanging with, that I wasn't going to be tempted to want to do this, that, and the other. But now that I know that every time that I can not do it is a victory.
Yeah.
That's right. Absolutely.
Okay, that gives me a whole perspective, a whole different perspective, because it's going to happen. It's going to happen, and without learning this book and being here with you guys, I would have always been afraid of it, or maybe even fallen into it, But learning that temptation is always going to be around, it may get lessened, or may sneak up after 15 years, whatever. But it's going to happen.
Right.
I've learned to look at it a whole different way.
That's absolutely.
That's awesome for me. That's
so
awesome, because now I don't have to be afraid of it.
That's right.
I don't have to be afraid of it.
It's true, because I love the book, but that particular chapter stuck out to me.
Yeah.
I just love it.
Yeah.
It gives you points.
Yeah.
And even Jesus Christ was tempted.
Right.
And what did He say? Man shall not live by bread alone, by every word that proceeds.
Right.
So you have the temptation will come.
It's going to come, and I do not have to be afraid, because I have Jesus.
Absolutely.
Well,
and something else we need to remember too is we always use the word deliverance, and we thank God for our deliverance and being delivered from some things. But I heard a word once, and it was so appropriate. They said, where deliverance is not taking place, then management must be in place.
Right. Right.
Good
Okay.
word,
Very
good
nice.
word.
You have to manage.
Right.
Where, deliverance is not taking place yet.
Right.
So believe God, because all deliverances are not immediate.
Right.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah, you were going to say something too, I'm sorry.
Well, no, I just wanted to, not to put, again, because God hasn't given us a spirit of fear, love,
Right.
power, sound mind, but I think especially putting yourself out there, as you're discovering what the Lord has created you to do, you're discovering your purpose, and now you're moving forward with the clothing closet part of that.
Right.
Particularly because of the people that you're going to encounter downtown, Middletown, you will encounter addicts and users. And so you now have a bigger bullseye on you,
Right,
and you should expect that the
Right.
enemy is gonna come at you and be prepared for that, because you're not only delivered from, or being delivered in both whichever cases, from your own past, but now you are moving into your purpose, which happens to be ministering to some of the very people that you perhaps used to be with.
Right.
So the enemy is not gonna be happy about that, because your
Right.
testimony is huge.
right,
So all of us have to expect we're gonna be hit in the area that we're the weakest. That's where the spiritual warfare comes in, and that's where you have your brothers and sisters and everybody around you
Right.
to keep you lifted up. So I would say that, just, know that any of us, when we move in our gifts and our calling, we're gonna get smacked
Yes.
hard.
I was just interviewed tonight for a paper that someone was writing, and we talked about from my addiction to where I'm at today in the ministry. That I'm not even sure if I can call. Do I call?
You
can call it a
ministry?
Absolutely.
It is.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
Serving.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, in the ministry, that I said that I think the reason why I was put into this ministry is because I love the people, whether it was a sick love or not. I love the people that I hung with. They were a part of me, and I think that they're part of the reason that I was chosen into this ministry is because I don't want to have to walk away from these people, because they were a part of my life, and I want to be able to still maybe be with them, but only in a different way. I can't go sit in their living rooms anymore, but I can also help to keep them warm. Maybe put some perfume on them, or some lotion on their hands, some shoes on their feet, but not be in the same venue as before, sitting in their living room and doing it, just being in the other.
See, that's and all that really is again, as you grow, is a part of wisdom. Then with temptation, you don't put yourself in temptation's way.
That's right.
Which is why in some instances, some folk who are going through certain kind of things, I've counseled, in fact, they have a great heart to go back and do something, and my counsel is not yet,
Okay,
That's what I was gonna say.
not yet.
Right.
The time may come,
right,
but again, in terms of management, then I cannot go there, cannot be there, because
Right.
I don't know where I am yet. Therefore, I need to stay away and be in another place. Let my light shine,
Right.
in another venue,
right,
that kind of a thing.
right,
And so be mindful that yours is your ministry is going to go beyond what you can comprehend right now.
Right.
It really is. But as long as you stay grounded and focused,
Yeah,
God
definitely.
gets all the glory.
Oh,
and
yeah.
people are going to be blessed because of it.
Yeah.
I believe that, yes.
Would it be appropriate to suggest, I just wanna ask, are you, when you're you haven't opened the doors to this yet, I would exhort you to have at least one, if not two, other strong sisters in the
Oh,
Lord
I
with
meant
you.
alone.
Yeah, don't
No, I'm not
don't
going
go.
alone. Oh, I would never go
Make
alone.
sure you've got
No.
people with you,
Of
because
course,
that's
I
gonna
have-
be
no,
your,
I would not ever go alone.
yeah.
No. First of all, I don't want to go alone because it's
The environment, first of all.
Right, that's what I'm
okay,
saying.
Yeah, I can't go alone.
Okay,
No, I can't go alone for my own spirit. I don't want to be overwhelmed with all the craziness that's going to be going on.
so you have a couple of people picked out that where you go, they're gonna be with you?
Yes. They're not. I don't think that they're spiritual people. Well, they are. My mother's going to be there. Deborah Hopkins, Reverend
Oh.
Deborah Hopkins.
She's great.
She's going to come. Valerie, Sister Valerie. No, Sister Valerie
McGriff.
She's
Okay.
going to come in.
Yeah, okay.
There's a few people. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm not going to do this by myself. Reverend Minnick, she'll stop in. But they wanted this to be not for me,
For the community.
but a community thing.
Right.
Yeah, but I have a team of my niece, who she goes to Southern, she's gonna be there helping with clothes, and there's gonna be, I won't be there alone. My fiance is gonna be there. People are gonna be around. I'm not gonna
That's-
do this by myself.
That's
Right.
great.
Yeah,
That's great.
yeah, no.
Yeah, because
Okay, let's,
Yeah.
cause we.
Thank you, though. I appreciate talking about it, though. I appreciate it.
But again,
But thank you. I do understand your concern. I appreciate it.
one of the things that you alluded to a little while ago was, in terms of what are we, I lost my page. We on.
235?
Is it 235?
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Yes,
it's purpose 4, right?
yes.
Yep,
thank you.
234 starts.
Oh, I just saw this on, it wasn't two pages, was it? Yeah, here, no, right here, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
You were put on this earth to make a contribution.
It's 225.
225.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And that's exactly, what we're talking about in terms of those things. And we did it for God's glory, right?
225.
It's all about Him, right? We were created to serve God, right?
Yes.
Now be mindful what Jesus said. When Jesus says, "Do unto the least of these, do also unto me,"
that's right.
right? He raised a question with the Apostle Paul. Paul, why are you persecuting me?
Right.
Right? And so when he said, why are you persecuting me? What did he mean? Jesus said, why are you persecuting me? Why not persecuting me?
I made a list of the small tasks that we could do that would touch on that. Here's what I wrote. Cup of water, a smile, pick up some dropped item, a kind word, a handwritten note, clean up the bathroom, sink or floor, open a door for somebody, pour coffee, wash the dishes, cook a meal, give a ride.
So when we do those things, when we don't do those things, right, then we're not doing this, we're not affecting Christ, right? When we help somebody else, then what in fact we're doing, we're serving God,
God.
right? And we serve God by serving others.
What is, if I have no love for others, no desire to serve others, I should question whether Christ is really in me, in my life.
Right?
It is because, and many times folks will do things, but they do things with an ulterior motive.
Yes.
Right.
And but what am I getting back from this? Right? That's not Christ-like. And God gets no glory in it. So it's so key so we need to realize that we were called, we were created to serve God, and we're also called, we're called to serve God. There, and it stopped me as you see the things that you really highlighted as we go along. Yes.
On page 230, it said, it doesn't matter the duration of our life, but the donation, what we
Right.
do with the time we have.
Yes.
And I had already done this a couple weeks ago and written it down, and really hit home again this week because a young man in our church was killed in a car accident a couple of days ago. And he had an amazing gift as a photographer. He was just a very gifted photographer, 24 years old. And his mom and dad have been in ministry with us in the church forever. The kids have grown up in the church, and so the church is kind of a mess right now. But anyway, I was thinking about Gabe, and a week before he died on the 20th. So a week before, when was that? I don't even know when that was.
Yesterday was the 20th.
It was the day before that or something. The day before. Anyway, on the 13th, he had written on his Facebook status, this is what he said: I know my calling, I know my purpose. God has called me to use the photography. He's come back to the Lord. This is a guy that's been off the path. And he said, I know my calling and my purpose, and God has called me to do the photography, so I hereby commit to starting to do it daily. And him and his mom have started a photography business some time ago, but she's been doing most of it, not him. And so he said, this is the part that was hard. He said, I would like to be known for my work while I'm still here, because too many people become famous after they pass away.
That's true.
And a week later he died. But that week in between, he produced some of the most spectacular work I've ever seen in my life. And it's already, the day he died, without him even knowing, people were already asking for prints of the pictures, and of course now it's gonna be up to his mom to redo that. Isn't that profound? So, it just kind of hit me again that we really just, for me, we don't know how much time we have to fulfill this assignment, and we better hop to it, because Pastor Pete always says that the, richest real estate is the cemetery, because that's where all the untapped potential is.
Miles Monroe says also.
Yeah, well, he probably got it from Miles Monroe.
There's on page 230, the second, which is service of significance. Question was asked: is you're going to? The statement is made. You're going to live your life for something. What will it be? A career, a sport, a hobby, fame, wealth. Those don't have any lasting significance within the home. But and there's also a scripture that I use often, actually, in I'm trying to find in funeral services. It's in I think it's 2 Corinthians 4. The one that says, "What is my life? It is but a puddle." I'm going to find that. Just 1 second. Pat, you know what I'm talking about?
A scripture?
I don't.
Yeah.
I said no. I don't.
No. Is that what he's
is my
saying? A
life?
scripture that says that?
You're talking about it
I'm
being a
sorry.
vapor, right? Because that's
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
in a vapor, isn't that in James?
That's
Is
it.
it James 4?
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much. James chapter number 4. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's in James chapter number 4, because oftentimes when I finalize, I recognize the fact that the funeral is really not for the person. They're gone. The book's closed. Life has been lived. But here in James chapter number 4, go down to verse number 13. It says, "Go to now, ye that say, today or tomorrow we will go to such a city,
Right.
continue there a year, and buy and sell, and get gain. Whereas ye know not what shall be on the morrow. For what is your life? It is even a vapor that appears for a little time, and then vanishes away.
Yeah.
For what ye ought to say, if the Lord will, we shall live and do this or that. But now you rejoice in your boasting, for all such boasting is evil. Therefore, to him that knoweth to do good and doeth it not, to him it is sin." But when it says that, when it raises that question, what is your life? It's even vapor. It's a puddle. When it rains, puddles are there. Then the sun comes back up,
Right.
and that puddle does what? It evaporates. It's there,
Right.
and then it's gone. The question is, what are you doing with the life that God gave you, or the life that God gave us? Are we using, the moments that God has given us in the days, or are we just wasting them away? Are we spending time saying, "Gee, this would be nice to do this," or am I doing
Doing it.
this?
Right. Right.
Because the Bible does say that as believers, when we stand before Him, we're not going to be judged for our sins, but what are we going to be judged for?
Our service.
Our service, our works, what we've
Who
done.
wrote my pastor back in Maine used to say this all the time, only one life, 'twill soon be past, only what's done for Christ will last.
Yeah.
Who wrote that? I don't know.
I
I don't know who actually, Spurgeon or somebody, I don't know, but anyway, that's always stuck with me. Only one life will soon be past, and only what's done for Christ will last.
And then the one that's more modern, than we all know, talks about, but the day has only 24 hours in it, 60 seconds, and it breaks it down and talks about it. Have you heard that poem?
Yeah.
I don't know it. I just, I've heard it so many times, written. Do you know what I'm talking about? No?
I know what you're talking
Thank you, 'cause I
about,
don't-
yeah,
I
and
don't know.
I do know that, I don't have it off the top of my head, but I referenced a little bit of it in my notes.
It says, what is I'm trying to find it online. It's beautiful. It talks about, the hour, the years, months, days, and and the seconds what we're doing with those. Of course, once they're gone,
That's it.
they're gone.
Yeah.
Someone says you're gonna be like I'm crazy. I'm gonna find it for you.
I was really, I love this. So it's under service and significance, 230, where you said if you're not involved with any service or ministry, what excuse have you been using? Abraham was old, Jacob was insecure,
Right.
Leah, all these
Yeah, I
people.
wrote that down.
Yeah.
I love it.
Problem,
I
right,
said,
right,
whoa,
right. I know, right?
that's great.
Samson was codependent.
I know, yeah.
This
I mean, John the Baptist was eccentric, to say the least.
Yeah.
That's right. And hot-tempered.
Elijah was suicidal.
Yes. I said, wow.
Even Moses wanted to die at one time.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
I think even on the, I don't even know if I want to say the flip side to that is sometimes the service that God is allowing you to do at that moment may be all He wants you to do. For instance, for me, and I've been like this since I was young, I know I'm destined for greatness. I don't know what greatness looks like. I just know it, to me, it's more than what I'm doing. So if I'm teaching Sunday school and I'm playing, the instrument and I'm doing the announcements, it's like, is this it? I've been doing this for 5, 10, 15, I'm in my 40s. And so then we talk about God's timing, being patient with God. It's less like, okay, am I not hearing you? Am I supposed to be moving and I'm just scared to move? Or am I really where I'm supposed to be? And this is what you've called me to be. And I need to be not just patient, but serve with a attitude of gratitude right where I am, and still learn whatever lessons, even if this is not my ending point, but how am I serving right where I am? And I think sometimes we can jump ahead and just not realizing that God has isolated us or kept us here for this time, and it's okay. But we don't feel it's okay because it's like, I know I'm supposed to do more. Like I think about the donkey that Jesus was supposed to ride on. I heard Jake's talking about it, but the donkey was tied up and no one ever sat on him. If you think through his head, he's like, I know I'm destined for more than just being tied up to this thing, but he was set aside for Jesus to use. And sometimes God has set us aside for a period of time. And we just have to trust that process. And I think that's a struggle for me at times. It's just like,
Absolutely.
For real?
That's such a great. You're so true. It's so true. I think about even my own life and struggles, because oftentimes as a pastor, you look to other ministries. It's a normal thing to do, and you say, well, boy, if I lived in this city, if I was in a mega place, and those kind of things, and then I'll never forget one of the and it was not long ago, one of the sermons on Jake, was one of Jake's sermons that I showed the guys in prison, where he talked about a little woman who waited to talk to him, and he was such busy, he didn't have time, but he finally met with her, and she said, and he was frustrated because of some things that were going on in his own life and that kind of thing, and the bottom line was, she said, Bishop, it's for us.
that's profound.
You do it for us.
Yeah.
And but what was most profound to me was when it was over, one of the guys came up to me in the prison system. He said, Bishop, you do this for us.
Yeah.
And I said, wow.
Yeah.
That changed a whole perspective
Yeah.
of life. It really did.
Yeah.
You know, for life, everyone's not called to have a mega church.
Right.
You know? But there are other things that God has you for. And I'm at peace with how I always have been for a long time. That the prison ministry was one that I never had, I told you before, was never on my radar.
Right.
Never my intention. I never want to go behind the jail, because I thank God I never did end up going to jail when I was younger. But that after 20 years now and counting, I realized that was part of the makeup that God put in me, And so it really is not about me, but it's for, and he said it this almost the same way she said, Bishop, you do this for us. So forget the frustrations of the system and all the other stuff you got to deal with, And I said, wow. And just like as you Ministry Files, what you're doing, you know, it's for them.
Right,
It's for
definitely.
them. And God will get glory.
One of the
Yes.
things that I love about the Lord is that we're all an equal playing field, and He's no respecter of persons or titles. It doesn't matter if someone is here and somebody else, you know, we in the world, I think if we get in the flesh, we compare. We just,
Yeah,
it's a
yeah, we do,
natural
yes.
thing. Oh, well, you know, and you just, you know, alluded to that, but we'll like, well, I'm only doing this, and somebody else is doing, wow, look at that. And maybe God has, you know, He looks at everybody equal.
Right.
And when you were talking about teaching Sunday school, I remember when I was teaching Sunday school and youth group, and I always thought about, and it's funny, we mentioned Billy Graham earlier, that's commonly used. We don't know when we're teaching or touching the next Billy Graham. We don't know.
That's right.
And my Sunday school superintendent, way back when I was in my early 20s and had just gotten saved and was coming up through, she said, and you know, a couple times the junior high class, and I think that when we're in here, she told me, whether you have one kid or you have 100 kids, you teach the same. And so now I do that, have done that since then. In one particular year and a half, I only had, for whatever reason, in the middle school, it's a small country church, I had one kid. After she had taught me that, and I had like 15 kids, and if some of them didn't come, I was like, hey, can we combine classes? And she said, over and over, one kid or 100, you teach the same. So then the next year, I ended up with one kid, and the following year for half the year. And that one kid was my nephew, who did not want Auntie Mel teaching me nothing. But that's what I did, and I faithfully prepared every single week as if I had a big audience, or a big class. I don't mean audience, that was the speaking part, sorry. So I did. And within 6 months, I had 120 kids in that little country church in my junior high class. There wasn't even 120 people in the church, but they were coming, they were bringing. I set up the beanbag chairs, I set up the refrigerator, I did everything as if the room was packed. And we moved me 3 or 4 times, and we had 120 by the end of it. But it started with one kid, and you know, I could have given up at that point. I'm like, yeah, what's the point in teaching for one kid? But most of those kids now, and that's what I wanted to share, most of those kids that came, that wave that came, almost every one of them are serving the Lord, many of them in full-time ministry. I had them for 4 years after that, and it was amazing to see what God did. But first I had to, you know, dig in some trenches.
I just wanted to share like that inner struggle that goes on. I stay faithful to my post.
Yeah.
That's one thing, you know, I know God has a plan, I know He has a purpose, and I know He knows what He's doing. I don't want to move out of His time.
That's right.
Like, listen, it's been 40 years, it's time to go. Like, let's do, you know, it's just like, nope.
He's giving
we'll
you
just,
that.
We'll just wrestle with it. We'll be all right tomorrow.
Yeah.
Today's just today.
And you with
Tomorrow.
the young girls now, the abstinence training and what you did here at the Shiloh Church here for the, yep, that's what He'll call you to, I think.
Now, let me ask, go ahead.
I do know that what I like about this is where, in the book where it says,
Page.
I was looking for where it was, but, it's about where you can't be jealous about what everybody else is doing in their
Right.
ministries.
Right.
You have to love yours, and we're all working for the Lord. So you can't be jealous about the cookie ministry or you know what I'm saying? You know, you can't be jealous about
That's right.
everybody
That's so
else's
true.
ministry because we're working for the one body. And I thought that was awesome to recognize and to read because people do that, I guess, you know?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
We absolutely do. We get in the flesh and we start looking,
Right,
comparing,
right.
and we can miss it because, you know, as you said, you know, when our time comes and we step before the being of the judgment,
Right.
and God reveals to us, you know, the lives that we did impact and we never thought we would have impacted in life, you know, and through all that God gets glory. Because if we're faithful, many things that we do in this life here, you and I would never know about,
That's right.
you know,
That's right.
until we get the glory.
Right,
Then we will fully know,
right.
you know, and impact that we've had, you know, in our lives. So there is no small ministry a new law.
Amen.
It's simply just ministry.
Hallelujah.
Right.
I only because I never share. I don't tell people this, so I keep all this stuff to myself. I just don't kind of open up. But I think my challenge isn't, and I agree with what you're saying. It's not necessarily all for me about jealousy. It's like I don't want to miss it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to miss that I'm teaching Sunday school because I've been doing 20 years. That I just keep doing it out of complacency, and God is trying to move me. And so I wrestle, like, am I supposed to move? And so when I try to move, and I think somebody's kind of come in and take over my Sunday school class, and this has happened a number of times, whether it's doing the announcements, the organ, da-da-da-da-da, and I think I have someone in place, and just before they get in place, it falls through. I'm like, okay, so I guess I'm supposed to stay. And these are the patterns.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay, so I'm trying not to move ahead, but I don't want to also stand still. Is it out of fear? Is it insecure? You know,
Right.
all of that. I don't want to miss him. It's not that I mind doing the small thing. I don't want to
understand.
miss
I
him.
understand.
And we did read that, where, look at the pattern.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah.
I'm not sure where.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah. we
the
talked about
temptation,
that.
whatever, it says, look
Look
at
at
the
the pattern.
pattern.
Yeah.
Isn't God faithful that He's allowed that if He wants you in that, and you know we're just humans trying to figure it out, and isn't He so faithful that each time He would say no,
Not yet.
no, I'm gonna let that go by the wayside, and you stay right where you are, and then we step out and try
Right,
here again,
right.
and He's like no.
But the struggle was this. Yeah, Lord, you know, so just tell me.
Audible voice in the basement.
I have to go somewhere and tell me how to do it.
I'll be
You know?
obedient. You don't want to be Abraham.
But that's part of the process.
It sure is.
That's part of the
It
process.
sure is.
So again, and with church, we all know we're shaped for serving God. Now, in this day 30, give me some highlights. Anybody highlight anything particular?
Let's see, day 30,
Yes.
28.
It starts at page 232. And anything in that chat, that little chat. And then highlight it. Anything particular that this kind of came out at you.
I highlighted shape, spiritual gifts, heart abilities, personality, and experience. I just did that all together.
Oh,
Yeah.
I just
You had
started
talked
reading it.
about this beginning when you say your gifts or your experiences, but I did. Your spiritual gifts were not given for your own benefit, but for the benefit of others, just as other people were given gifts for your benefit.
Right. That's what you got. Ain't about me.
No, it's not.
You know? But I have this for you. What you have this for me.
Yeah.
I'm on page 236, second paragraph. In the same way, God has given each of us a unique emotional heartbeat that
Yeah.
races when we think about subjects, activities, or circumstances that interest us. We instinctively care about some things and not about others. These are clues to where you should be serving. And I thought, I am kind of an emotional creature, and I really appreciate the fact that God has allowed us to be emotional, and that's one of those clues. And I love working with the middle school and the high school kids, but I'm not a young kid type of person, and everybody's like, how can you say that when you're around your own kids? I would tell them, I'll do anything. I'll stay home before I do nursery duty. So we knew what Mel didn't want to do. I was not called to children's ministries, but then there's, when it's an opportunity to work with teens or work with women, I'm like,
Passion.
I don't need to sleep.
I'm
good.
Right.
Yeah, and that's that emotional piece, and I really appreciate that we have the
And so-
emotions as a pulse.
God gives us grace to do what we need to do.
Man,
But passion is where our heart is.
right.
Yeah.
Was it in this class that you asked, or maybe I've heard it in who knows which venue lately, that one of the ways to figure it out
Yes.
is which thing would you do if you could do it the rest of your life and never see a dime for it? You just pour yourself into it and you'd be content doing it always with no rewards at all, just do it.
That's passion.
Yeah.
That's passion.
Yeah.
I like this quote by the richest man in the world.
What page were you?
237, where he said, the richest man in the world once said, a simple life in the fear of God is better than a rich life with a ton of headaches.
Yeah, that was good.
I love it.
Yeah. I also have one on 237. The second characteristic of serving God from your heart is effectiveness. Yeah, I thought that was good. Being effective, you know.
It's true.
Yeah.
Passion drives perfection.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Passion. You want when you be passionate, you want to do it. You want to do it. Make sure it's right.
Make sure it's right.
You know,
Yeah.
when you do it.
Yeah.
And so, and you're right. So when we look at these things, we start to see the characteristics of our own self.
Right.
You know, and everybody's not called to teach children. You know, little
Right.
children. And that's
I'm with you, Mel.
and unfortunately that's the problem in some churches today. You know, they have people in the wrong places because of need. But I'd rather find the right person to do that than have the wrong person.
Right.
Because they can bring more harm than it can bring more grace to certain situations. Well, I'll do it, but you know, because one thing, if it just say kids, if a person's hard now with little kids, they know it.
Yeah.
They know. And so the effectiveness is not going to be there. Just like many people, you know, are called to ministry, and years ago, unfortunately, and thank God it's changing today. Whenever you heard the word minister, you heard it thought about a what?
Man.
Preacher, pastor, right? But that's not ministry.
No.
Right.
That's what, and that's an aspect of ministry. But ministry is too big to box it like that. What you're doing is ministry. Teaching is ministry. You know, administration is ministry. You know, I mean, there's so many far facets of it that and so you don't have to be behind a podium to be a minister.
Right.
Right.
You know, and that's been a misnomer for years. You know, and even your hesitation is because of society, of the term ministry.
Right.
Well, can I call it ministry? If I call it ministry, then I must be ministering.
Right.
If
Right.
I'm ministering, I must be a minister. Well, you are ministering.
Okay.
You are ministering.
Okay. Thank you. Oh wow.
Now, do you,
I've made it.
and thank God, He is the one that does it, because other people will think that you can't be a minister, you can't minister. You don't qualify, but
Right.
ultimately it is God
Right.
who qualifies us.
He
Hallelujah.
qualified me. I'm gonna cry right now.
It's
Wow.
okay if you cry. It's overwhelming to realize that, isn't it?
Wow. Yeah.
Your
it
past
really
doesn't
is.
count anymore.
Yeah. I mean, when they gave me the keys to the church, that was something else.
That's why
That was something else.
a course like this helps, because like you, I never really take ownership of anything. And a lot of times somebody just comes and take it from me. But then God keeps sending me back. But with a course like this is my ministry. I have the passion for it. Everything is there. But I don't have the confidence or to believe it, that this is what I should be doing. But now, boy, do I have it.
Amen.
Got it.
Right.
I got it.
Yeah, I was trying to find this in some different version, but the Bible actually says that you have been qualified. And I think I believe it's in Galatians somewhere, in Galatians or Ephesians, and it talks about people who've gone through that God has qualified us, you know, because of what He has done and is doing in our lives. Of course, the truth about it, I don't care what school a person's going to, I don't care how many degrees they have on the wall, that none of us are qualified until God qualifies us.
Right.
And the truth of the matter, most times the qualification comes to having gone through
Right.
something in our lives.
Right.
That's right.
Qualifies us. Going through some pain, going through some heartache, going through some rough times, you know, that qualifies us. Joseph was qualified to be second in command because of what he had to go through
Amen.
in that journey called life. Hey, this is your class, man.
I'll have to look for it. I don't know where it is.
No, who he qualified, he justified.
Did you find it?
I don't know, is that?
Oh, yeah, you got.
Where are you at?
Are you talking about those he predestined, he called, those he called, he
Nah,
justified?
that's not the
Justified,
one.
he
There's
glorified.
another one.
Yeah, but
that-
you can Google I didn't have the internet up.
There's another.
just do the word qualified.
I was just reading, where did I read it?
Is that Bible Gateway? One of them.
And a lot of Bibles don't use the word qualified.
Right, that's why I was
Yeah,
thinking
yeah,
Bible
yeah,
Gateway,
yeah,
one of those, because then
yeah.
you can search all translations.
Yeah. But he qualified us. I mean, he prepares us, he takes us through. Okay, you qualified now. You fail the test, go back through, okay, now you qualified. And that's
That's
good.
so awesome.
Can I throw another spin on something
Absolutely,
just for a second?
absolutely.
That paragraph we were reading on page 237 about the passion, the last part of that says, in the highest achievers in any field are those who do not do it because of those who do it, those who do it because of passion, not duty or profit, with respect to our careers or whatever. And, I just got hired at full-time last week. What day is this, Thursday? This was my first full week, in my new job at AAA as a travel agent. And so, I've already, apparently, according to them, now, I'll say this, my heart was, I want to be a light. When I get there, who am I going to minister to? And already I'm finding, out who each other is. And there's, one woman says to me today, she says, like, I've never shared any of this with anyone. Nobody here knows this. And she starts telling me about her abusive past and all kinds of things. And I just was so blessed. So my desire is to be a light, but how I'm doing it, or being able to have an inroad with people, is because they keep saying, Mel, you've been here a couple of weeks and you're already outdoing everybody in the office. We've been here 10 and 12 years. I don't get it. And I was like, oh really? I don't know what the numbers are. So the Lord has given me favor and I said, what I said to them about the ability to work with the public already is because I love AAA. I just have always loved AAA, and and I love travel, and it's easy for me to talk to people about it because I believe in it, and that's what they keep saying, and then they keep going to my supervisor and say, wow, she's really good, and I was like, I'm not trying, I just am talking to people, and some of the others just are, no expression on their face, and they're just like, next, and I'm like, yeah, lost your passion, or maybe you didn't have it, but they lost it, but, so that's one thing about how I immediately become in that position in the office already. The second part of that is, because of that, it's opening up roadways to talk to them, and that's the light. And I find that amazing that, I don't think that I'm, my calling is not to be at AAA. My calling is to minister to people that are hurting. And there I have a whole group of primarily women, I think 2 men in the group, out of 20, there's 26 I think there, and there's about 6 men. Mostly women, that's my desire, and one by one they're coming up to me day after day after day and sharing their stories. And I'm like, I don't know why I'm telling you this. And I'm like, I know. I don't say anything yet, but isn't that cool? That all stems from the passion of loving something, and
Right.
God uses that to open up something different, which is to be the light and eventually prayerfully share the gospel with those who will listen.
That's great. That's great. But you just
It's
many,
amazing.
many of the plans of a man's heart, but God's purpose prevails.
Right?
Ultimately.
Yeah.
So you never know when God's going to have you go to find another call or something. But normally, where your passion is where He's going to use you, to the Lord. Now, I got a question. Sunday, that's shit, right?
Yes.
You're still trying to figure this out.
What did you get?
That's not
You
okay.
email me your final?
Yes.
Probably if I can pull it off there. Okay. All right. Sunday.
And this is Laverne.
I'm sorry.
Campbell.
I just wanted to make sure.
I'm Mel, or Mary Ellen, however you choose to.
Mary Ellen Smith Tavares, male.
Very good.
Last week, was anyone here last week? Reverend Pat?
I was.
I'm just.
Yeah,
Yes.
weren't we?
We
Yeah, I
were all
think
here.
so.
Okay.
And Alan by video.
Yeah, right. Hi, Ellen.
Oh, we miss him.
We miss you, Alan.
Don't tell him that.
Actually, he's gonna be ministering this Sunday.
That's right,
Yeah.
that's
At
right.
church?
Wow.
Yeah,
How
You at church?
awesome is that?
yeah, he and Ramona, they're gonna be ministers this Sunday. I mean, they're ministering from the pulpit this Sunday.
Okay, they,
Wow.
they do more than one sermon? Is that how they do it?
Sorry?
Are you gonna be, what?
Like a
they say
platform
ministry,
service?
are they